and welcome back everyone. So I'm going to be playing a visual novel this time that one of my good friends recommended to me. I don't know what's in store. I read absolutely nothing about it and just decided, hey, I'm going to play this game. She says it's really great, and based on the art, it looks like it's right up my alley. So we are going to go ahead and start it. Start? Oh. Oh.
ようこそノベルアドベンチャーゲームレイジングループの世界へ
Oh, this is cute. This isn't what I expected.
私は単なるどれに足らないインターフェイス的キャラクターです。そうですね。リカコとでもお呼びください。
I wonder if
こ
it's
こで
all
は
voiced in
初めてプ
Japanese
レイ
or
な
just
さる
this
皆様
part.
にこのゲームの遊び方を簡単にご説明いたしたいと存じます。いくつか変わったところのあるゲームですので、最初はぜひとも全部の説明をお読みいただきたいと思います。
Fine, I'll read everything
特
here
に
just
動画
because
配
you're
信を
very
なさる
kind.
方は4動画やシェアについて
Who's uploading the
だけでも
gameplay should at least
必
read
ずお
the
読みください
videos and
ね。
sharing section. Oh, she caught me. Should I
最後まで読んでいただけたら
read until the end?
私のセクシーな画像が
Should we?
見られません。
Oh,
世間は厳しゅうございます。
this is a harsh
さめざめ
reality. I almost got tricked, straight up duped.
さて、何からご説明いたしましょう。
I'm gonna actually read about video sharing and I'll be right back.
とても長くなってしまいました。
Okay, so
ここまでお読み
I'm
いた
all
だ
good
き、
to share.
誠にありがとう存じ
And
ます。
I didn't want anything to be spoiled about what will happen when we get to when I can no longer share, but we are all set. This nice young miss here, Rikako, told me I'm all good.
それでは、いよいよ物語の
And
始まりです。
we're heading in, obviously.
限りなく濃い霧と血煙の向こう。繰り返される絶望と悲嘆の果て。
Ever repeating despair and grief. Oh no, is Junko in here?
人狼村
Junko
の
and
真実を
Shima.
どうかその目でご覧くださいませ。
Oh, a werewolf village? I'm finally going home.
ペコリ。
There's a long-running joke in high school that I was a werewolf, because I'm native and warm and, I don't know, brown. Hey, it is Sunday. I think it actually is. Oh no, I was like, is it 11:05 today? No, it's 11:09. But it's still Sunday, so we're all in this almost on the same timeline. I closed in on the side of the road and killed the engine. It was steeper than I thought. My bike was on the verge of giving out, so I pushed down and deployed the kickstand. 'Cause I'm a cool guy. Well, I'm lost. Maybe taking a ride down an unknown road with no sat-nav on me wasn't such a good idea. I just followed the road so I figured I wouldn't get lost, but now I was in some deep shit. No, cool it. This ain't a big deal. I sighed. I took note of the fact that I'd gotten lost in my pocket journal, then pulled out a map. I don't know why I made him a yeehaw. I figured that's what he would sound like. Suddenly, a rush of memories flitted into my mind. Oh, I don't have a key, so I can't unlock the memory. Yeah, forget it. I somehow kept myself from remembering those things. After all, I'd gone on this trip to forget. Nothing like bottling it all up and forgetting about it. His name is Haruaki Fusashi. Haruaki Fusashi. And I made him a yeehaw, so...
やめやめ。目の前の現実を直視。
Oh, he's talking. Enough of that. I gotta focus on what's happening right now.
人生はシンプル。つまりこの道のごとく、真っ暗で道案内もなく、進むか返すか。考えることはそれだけ。
I don't know if I should voice it if he's talking, because it seems kind of redundant. Life is simple, just like this road. It's dark and it's dark and it's full of lines, and there aren't any guides, but that means all you gotta think about is whether or not you go forward or back, or if you know how to read. Going back wasn't an option in this case, so I just moved forward. Why did they put some voice? Still, I wanted to know where I was at least, so I looked down at my map. It was all Greek to me, or Japanese. Actually, no, I'm Japanese. It's all English to me. Last time I seen a sign, it was still light out, meaning I'd gotten lost after the sun had set. I guess. Sure, it was my own fault for guessing which intersections I'd been passing through, and that it'd taken me 2 hours to conclude I was lost. Crazy to think that just 2 hours of aimless driving has got me almost completely surrounded by mountains. Dude, I've been there, and it's scary. They extended as far out as the eye could see. If you flipped this scenery upside down and shook it, it's unlikely that even a shred of civilization would tumble out. Besides, the asphalt below, my sweet ride, and the lamp post above, the first thing one in a while, mind you, there was nothing man-made here. The pocket map I had wasn't detailed enough for me to figure out where I was.
進むか。
Guess I'll keep driving. As far as I could. Worst comes to worst, I could just camp out at the side of the road. Two hours later, I deeply regretted ever thinking of that. Basically, camping wasn't even an option. This mountain road had no side to camp on. A dump truck I'd passed barely even fit onto it. I'd also had my first close encounters with the wild forest animals. I've already seen 2 boars. I've seen 2 boars and 3 deers in those 2 hours alone. One of the deer had one parallel to my bike while intently staring at me, and I had no idea what to think of that. I felt like I could smell my fear, and it did it to just make it worse. How dare the thing do that to a human? We're the kings of this planet, damn it. I'd have to remember to eat some venison once I came back to civilization. Anyway, camping out here was a bad idea. I'd end up as roadkill or animal food. And yet, I didn't back out. Why? Because I'm pretty warped sort of a guy, and I don't pretend otherwise. Yeah, that's a yeehaw if I've ever seen one. That was actually the reason why my once comfortable relationship had gone awry, and why I'd gone on this stupid trip. Still, despite acknowledging that, I kept close. I can't read. Still, despite acknowledging that, I chose to keep moving forward. It wasn't like I'd find a place to stay if I went back. I was actually starting to think that this experience might make a good conversation piece sometime down the road. Or a visual novel. It was really getting late at this point. Where would these roads take me anyway? I'd probably be disappointed. Soon enough, the road became flat. I was out of the mountain pass. The forest remained abundant though, so I didn't see much, even though the streetlights and signs were enough to make me feel as if I was nearing civilization. Was streetlights the right expression for lights in a forest? I'd have to look that up. The tree lights. As the road grew less rugged, I realized just how exhausted I was. All of this bike handling had left my hands really sore, too. I really had to rest. Suddenly, I saw something unexpected. Powerful, colorful, artificial lights. A convenience store? Of course there's a 7-Eleven out here, or a Fresh Mark, or Marquis. That's exactly what it was. I was next to an intersection between the road I was on and another, even thinner road that could probably support only a single car. The sea of trees ended up giving room for the majestic child of our consumerist society. Yeah, that was an exaggeration. Apparently even a damn store was a big deal for someone who just stepped out of the wild. It was called Fresh Maquis. Probably French. I'd seen several of them a few times during the day. It was probably a local franchise. The building didn't look all that old, at least. The parking lot looked a lot smoother compared to the roads. This was a pretty weird place to build something like that, though. Was that close to a settlement? Or did they actually make profit off of a lost travelers? I just asked that or something. A local shopkeeper was bound to know what was around these parts, not to mention I was thirsty. Thirsty? Thirsty. I was welcomed by a weird chime sound. It looked like a normal convenience store. There were goods on the shelves, a counter on the left, and... Whoa! There was a worker at the counter was so mean-looking and scary. She was so imposing, I wouldn't have doubted if somebody told me she was in charge of some ladies' army corps. Hey. Was that supposed to be a greeting? I was so damn cold it actually gave me chills. Was this store shadier than it appeared? Was that about to be stupidly overcharged? Was this how this place made a profit? By taking advantage of lost people and basically beating them out of their money? Shit, that was scary. Clearly, the Wonderland had only just begun. Woohoo! I sure was excited for the beating. I grew more nervous and less excited by the second. I braced myself, but she just looked down at a magazine in her hands. Oh, so she was just a slacker. Slightly disappointed, I walked around the store. Oh. It was about what you'd expect. There was a small shelf with energy drinks, followed by some stationaries, travel goods, sanitary stuff, etc., etc. There were sweets that came with toys, a shelf of cup ramen or dried food, a fridge, a freezer. It all looked normal. It was so late, so the daily dish and packed lunch section was completely empty. The only special thing about this place was the section full of unpacked vegetables you'd expect to see at a greengrocer's. Maybe all the rural convenience stores were like this. I was slightly surprised by that, but there weren't any local fine foods or anything, so all in all, it was an unremarkable store if you ignored the clerk anyway. I took a drink and bought it to the register. Yep, she really was the highlight of this place. What kind of clerk smokes while dealing with a customer? You're actually buying? Yes, I was actually buying. She was the clerk and I'd be her god, the customer.
126 yen.
126 yen. She didn't even scan it. This exchange was at the mercy of the clerk. God is dead. Maybe I had to get mad at her.
ちょっといいですか?
Can I ask something?
実は道に迷ってし
I'm
まって。
kinda lost right now. I quickly turned meek.
町はどっちにあるでしょうか?
Where can I find the nearest town?
あっち。
There.
いや、その、
didn't you have a map or something?
ない。
We don't. Man, this woman.
いや、そんなは
I'm
ずは
not
ない
sure
で
I
しょ。
believe that. Convenience stores often get asked for directions. You must have a map handy.
知らねえよ。ないもんは
Is
ね。
that a rule?
おとなしく来た道戻
We
れよ。
don't have one. Go back to wherever you came from.
もう数時間迷ってるもんで。
I've been lost for a few
これ以
hours
上は
now.
ちょっと。
I don't think I can keep up for much longer.
その辺の床で寝てけば。
Sleep on the floor or something. She had to be joking.
いや、
I appreciate the sentiment, but I'd rather be on my way. Are you sure you can't help?
ああ、もう、せえな。
Alright. Alright. Just wait. The clerk poked down her smoke in the ashtray and went to the staff-only area. She came back in no time.
あったわ。
Found it. So she did have a map. Of course she did. Even more in-tempered than usual, the store clerk started giving an
これ
explanation.
がこの店。で、十字路
This
北へ
here's the store. Go to the north of the crossroads.
うん。
しばらくしたら立教があっから。
You'll
渡れ。
find an
最
overpass
初の
soon
分岐のとこ
enough.
に大岩があっから。そこを右
When
折
you
して。
come to a
あとは
fork
直
next to a giant boulder, turn right and head straight.
この道
Huh? On this road?
んだよ。
What of it?
いや、
There's
この先
nothing
何もなくない
there.
です。
書かれてね
There's
え
a
だけで集落
settlement.
があん
It's
だ
just
よ。
not on the map.
うん。
Oh shoot, that was
そ
not
こ
her
以外
voice.
なら
Do you know of any other places?
富士吉村まで行くには峠道2
There's
時間。
Fujiyoshi, but
こっちなら
it's
30
2 hours
分
through a mountain pass. This one's about 30 minutes away. Fujiyoshi seemed to be a village. It didn't look too far away, but the road leading to it was a huge branching mess. It was clearly a paved mountain pass. I'd had enough of those for one day. I'll probably just get lost again.
じゃあ、こっち行ってみます。
I'll go to that
ありがとう
one
ございます。
then. Thank you.
金
Money?
はい。
Excuse me?
払ってねえだろ。
You
ちゃんと
didn't
やっ
pay for the tea?
あ
Here's
じゃあ
500 yen. Ding! Russell. Jingle.
あ、なぜ、お釣りを無断で募金箱に
Why
入れ
did
るん
you
ですか
put the change in the Why did you put the change in the collection box without asking me?
小銭多いとうぜえだろ。
Having too many coins is a pain, ain't it? That was a hell of a line. I casually thanked her, grabbed the plastic bottle of tea, she didn't give me a bag by the way, and left the store. Dude, you're gonna drink the tea. I drank the tea in the parking lot and looked up at the moon obscured by the clouds, but still bright enough to outshine the light of the convenience store. The clerk put me in a bad mood though, so I didn't enjoy the sight. I threw the bottle into a nearby trash can and aggressively drove away. See, you were just gonna throw the bottle of tea away. Why did you need a bag? Sir, why did you need a bag? Following the directions, I crossed the overpass and arrived at the first fork in the road. The byway she told me about was really narrow. I probably didn't have noticed. Wouldn't have noticed it were it not for the tall boulder standing there like a roadside shrine for some traveler deity. Turning carefully, I got on the road. A minute later, I found myself in an even worse wilderness than before. A veil of dead leaves covered the ground, tall grass sided the path, and the sky above was blackened by overgrown shrubs, making it feel like I was passing a wooden tunnel. The road itself was a huge red flag. I wonder why I didn't just turn around. The exchange from before might have pissed me off more than I thought. Still, I really didn't expect the road to just end. It happened about 15 minutes in. The view ahead suddenly turned strangely dark, and a split second later, the bike tipped forward. Not tripped, bikes don't trip. Oh, this is a funky sound. I reflexively hit the brakes, but it was too late. I started going down a cliff. My bike tilted downwards, and it was suspension that was put to the greatest test yet, as we basically tumbled down to the bottom. The headlights were suddenly shown on some dirt and grass, and I knew that I'd be flung out of my seat. I'm dead. God, is that you? Stifling a scream, I tried to work some steering and brake magic show to slow down without collapsing. That was an odd sentence. But that was too big a task for a simple road bike. At the bottom of the cliff, I jumped higher than even before. The suspension couldn't handle the impact, and I was launched into the air. A moment later, I heard a crash and felt an impact, after which came on an unpleasant pain. Damn it! An accident where I was flung out like that was a first for me. The launch was really something too. Did a 360 in the air, fell on my back, no scoped, and my breathing stopped for a moment, and the pain was so bad I thought all my bones shattered. My face and limbs seemed pretty fine at least, though I wasn't sure if that counted as a silver lining. There was grass under my hands. I felt it even through the gloves, that the smell of green made it pretty clear what I had landed on. I pushed down, my hands sunk, the grass growth was pretty hefty. It was probably the reason why I came out relatively okay. That's some thick-ass grass. Sure, my joints creaked when I stood up, but aside from that, I was fine. It was really dark, so I couldn't really confirm it, but I was pretty sure I wasn't bleeding. My bike, however, wasn't nearly as lucky. Oh boy. It was lying on its side, a short distance ahead. The engine was still on, the back wheel kept turning, making an unpleasant fricative noise. Yep, it was busted. I walked up, killed the engine, and took out the key. With the headlights off, I was surrounded by absolute darkness, so I just stood and waited until my eyes adjusted. I still couldn't see very clearly, but it looked like this was actually a blah. Like, these sentences are just like slightly odd enough to not feel natural off the tongue, but that's okay. We're gonna keep going on, and this guy's still gonna be as, yeehaw as I can possibly make him. I don't know any distinct accents, so it's just a muddled accent. I wasn't on a road. It just wasn't paved beyond this point. Obviously, a road bike had no chance against unpaved road. That woman actually tried to kill me. Or I'm an idiot. Zigzagging through the trees, I followed the narrow footpath deeper into the forest. I tried to get my bike up and running again, but instantly gave up. It was partially stuck in the mud, so there was risk of it slipping and getting me even into another accident. Maybe I had to turn around? The moment I considered that, I thought I saw a faint light ahead. If that woman wasn't lying, this road led me to a settlement. Was I close? I reached into my jacket's pocket, took out my phone, and opened it up. As you would expect, I was out of range. I ran the light app and shone a light to see better. Though weak, it was better than nothing. At the very least, it helped me watch where I was going. I had no idea how long I'd been walking for, but sure enough, I could see a light behind the shrubs. It was weaker than expected. A flashlight, perhaps? I could hear the water, too. I might have been near a river.
すいません
Hello? I raised my voice.
すいません
Hello? Anyone there? Still declaring my presence, I walked forward. It was late at night. Were I to bump into someone here, the scare would probably take away a few years of our lives. That's why I figured it was best for the both of us to let each other know we were here before that happened. However, there was no response. Could they not hear me over the
すいま
rapids?
せん
Hello! I shot my light ahead and realized I'd made it to the opening. Sure enough, there was a river, or a stream rather. I could see slightly more than I had while surrounded by trees. Straight in my eyes, I saw a rocky river beach in the shallows. The light I had seen on the other side, from what I could tell, it was either a lantern or a flashlight. It was close enough to the ground. I didn't see any people, though. No one responded to my shouting, either. I wasn't excited about it, but I decided to step into the water. The cold water quickly soaked my shoes and socks. I could have taken them off, but I figured that crossing the river barefoot at midnight was a bad idea. But man, it was cold. I put my phone back to my jacket. I needed both my hands free in case I fell. Not stopping or backing down, I walked towards the light. It suddenly became deeper. The water reached my knees now. Now, that was too close for comfort. Feeling the bottom of my toes and balancing myself, I somehow avoided losing my footing. The flow was fiercer than I expected. If I slipped and fell, I'd probably be washed away. It suddenly hit me that I was doing something really weird, but it was too late to back down, just like the rest of this trip. Man, I'm doing something weird. Too late to back down. Putting my hands on the boulders and carefully checking that I wasn't stepping on, I gradually made it to the other side. Then, with an unpleasant wet sound in my every state, macaroni in the pot, I walked up to the light. I could already see it clearly. Yep, it was a flashlight lying on the ground for some reason. There wasn't much space here. It was a narrow riverbed with a cliff lap beside it. As you expect, I didn't see it or sense anyone nearby. What in the hell? The flashlight was still working fine. The strength of the light told me the battery was pretty full. That meant that somebody was actually using this tonight, or rather, until just a few moments ago. That was the most logical conclusion. It obviously wasn't left here yesterday afternoon or evening. And yet, the user was nowhere in sight, and I was near a river. Did something bad happen? Did the flashlight's owner step into the stream and get swept away? That was the most likely and worst possible scenario. However, the flashlight was left there, practically buried in the pebbles. It didn't seem like someone placed it there to light things up. It was the dead of night. There was no way you would notice dropping your flashlight when it was so dark. Right. The fact that the light source was left on in a place like this was strange by itself. With that considered, what was going on here? What if someone heard my stupid shouting and decided to lure me in with the light so they could ambush me? Where would they attack from? Above?
こんばんは。
Hello? I heard a voice that moment. I looked up. The rock cliff was actually made up of several boulders. There was a face peeking up from behind one of them.
こんばんは。
Hello?
あー、人だ。
Wow, a person. You really surprised me. That was my line.
悪いんだけど、それ取って
Sorry,
もらえます？
could you pick that up for me? The voice was feminine. I finally realized what was going
落とし
on.
たってわけですか。
So you dropped this? I picked up the flashlight and pointed it at the source of the voice.
やん。
Ah, high-pitched voice, slender hands, shielding the light. This girl was a waifu. Sure enough, it was a young woman.
眩しいな。
It's so bright.
Oh,
Oh, sorry. This is me, by the way.
こっちは
怖いです。
That's
だから照らさない。
that's creepy. Don't shine it from below like that.
実は頭部を
I'm
道に
actually a
迷う
bit
だと
lost.
すると、割
I
と
think a
積
bit
極
is
的に迷
something
って
of an
ます。
understatement then. Yeah, I thought as much.
ここって人里です。
Is this a settlement?
難しい質問だな。
That's a difficult question.
とりあえず助けてもらえ
Can
ない
you
けど
help me out at least?
助ける？
Help?
雨露しのげて
I just need a place to hide from the rain and wild animals. That's all. Standing on the boulder, the young woman made a pensive face.
じゃあ、うち来ます？
Wanna come to my place? And that was the conclusion she had arrived at. Her face told me she was 100% serious. Place. My place. By that, she surely meant a house. A settlement?
いいんです。
Hannah, I know I asked for help and all that, but I'm actually desperate enough not to hold myself back.
男として？
As a man?
ええ。いや違う。
Yes. I mean, no. As a living being, I spent the last few hours aimlessly driving around only to fall off my bike. I'm dead tired and at my wit's end here.
あらら。
Oh dear.
なら、
But what
見捨
kind of
てるかも
living
ど
would
うよって感じ
it?
じゃ
What
ない
kind of
です？
living being would I be if I just abandoned you? And so I was saved. Oh, the beauty of living beings looking out for each other.
じゃあ、手、いいです？
Anyway, your hand, please.
ん？
ここ、一
You can't climb up on your own, yeah? True. Honestly, I didn't even realize I'd have to. Meeting another person filled me with relief, which was followed by a sudden wave of fatigue. It wasn't crippling, though. She extended her left hand, so I grabbed it with my own left. Her slender fingers were stronger than expected. The girl's name was Chiemi Serizawa. Chiemi Serizawa. I asked if she was related to the Shinsei Gumi guy, but she just said that her family was adopted that name at some point in the Meiji period. She was a 20-year-old who went to college far away from here. This was her hometown, and she was spending her post-exam vacation here. We chatted about stuff like that when she led me out of the rocky ravine. There was actually a proper path, so the rock climbing was pretty pointless, but I was too focused on my footing to comment. She told me about herself as soon as we reached the solid ground.
ちなみにそちらは
And what about you?
名前は久石
I'm
春明。
Haruki Fusashi.
東京で大
I
学院生やってま
graduated
す。
a graduate student from a Tokyo college.
じゃあちょっと年上
Oh, so you're a bit older.
24だから、
I'm 24, so 3 years I'd say
芹沢さんと
we're in the
3つ違いかな。
same age range.
ちえみでいいです
Yeah,
よ
don't you dare be
敬語とかも
formal
いら
with
ないです。
me.
じゃあ僕も、
All
呼び捨
right.
てタメ口がいいな。
Then you can be casual with me too.
で
Can
す
I
か
really?
女の子に親しくされて
I
るみ
like
た
it
い
when
で、
girls all friendly
嬉しい
with
から
me.
ね。
なるほど
Say.
実は私も堅苦しいの
Well, I
苦
know
手
what you
なんで
mean. I
じゃ
don't
あ
like
遠慮なく
stiff socializing either. Sure, I'll treat you like a friend.
どうぞどうぞ。ち
Wouldn't
なみ
have
に
it any
ま
other
だ
way.
結構遠い
That aside, are we there yet?
そうでもないか
Not
な
We're
もう
like
5
5
分
minutes
くらい頑張
away.
りましょう
Hang in there, Chief. What a lively girl. You could tell she was used to people.
ただ足元に気をつけて
Also, watch your
明か
step
りだ
and
け見て
focus on just the light. Just the light. Just the light.
何かあるの？
Any reason?
この辺石ころだらけで危
There
な
are
いんだ
loads of pebbles here. It's dangerous. The moment she said that, I stumbled on a rock too big to be called a pebble.
あと
And
今
it's
夜はずいぶ
pretty
ん
dark
暗いしね
outside. Oh god, that's not his blubber. And it's pretty dark outside. I couldn't even see the moon anymore. Nodding in agreement, I focused on following the light in her hand. And next time, we'll see where the light in her hand leads. And if I can keep up this voice acting for this whole playthrough, because, wow, I am winded, and I'll probably just end up talking in this accent through my daily life and ruin all my relationships. And we're not going to think about that. So I will see you next time, and we'll see where Chiemi is leading us with her delightful light hands. Okay, goodbye.